Hello, sports fans. We are ready for NFL picks for week number 14 in the league where they play for pay. And let's get right to it. Let's not waste any time today. Pick number 1. Let's go to the dog pound in Cleveland. Those great fans in Cleveland. With the Carolina Panthers, a -2 over the Cleveland Browns. What in the world's going on with Carolina? Carolina 6-6, lost 4 in a row, lost to Tampa Bay. Now they lose Olsen for the year. Carolina has fallen apart. They were 6-2. Then they got blown out by Pittsburgh. Then they lost that tough game to Detroit where they missed an extra point. Then they could have tied it with an extra point. They go for 2. They miss that. They lose. Then come back, lose a tough game at home to Seattle, a game they were winning a lot of the game. And then they lose to Tampa Bay where Cam Newton was awful. And I know Olsen got hurt. Cam Newton was awful in this game. And he's supposed to be a superstar quarterback. 4 interceptions, and Tampa Bay's defense isn't all that great. They fired their defensive coordinator weeks ago. Cam Newton made the Buccaneer defense look like the '85 Bears. Firing interceptions all over the place. Terrible performance by the Panthers and Cam Newton. Browns, they're down to 4-7-1. They lost to Houston. No surprise there. The Texans are very hot. Listen, the way Carolina is playing, I cannot take them here. I don't trust them, especially on the road. I'm going to move the line to 8 in a 2-team teaser and take a shot with Cleveland. I just don't like what I see at all from Carolina right now. So to think they're going to go on the road and blow someone out, I don't trust them. I'll move the line to 8 and take the Browns. Don't love the game in particular, but for the purpose of the show, I'll take the Browns +8 in a 2-team teaser. That's pick number 1. Pick number 2. Let's go to Santa Clara with the Denver Broncos, a -6 against the San Francisco 49ers. Niners down to 2-10, lost to Seattle. It's been just a lost year for the San Francisco 49ers. Once they lost the quarterback, it's been a complete nightmare. Denver, let's start giving them some credit. They're up to 6-6, beat up Cincinnati. They did lose Chris Harris Jr. for a few weeks. He's not going on IR, but he will miss this week. Denver has shown a lot of resolve. They were 3-6 heading to their bye week. They've won 3 in a row. Showing a lot of heart, showing a lot of fight. Good job by Denver. I'll move the line to pick them in a 2-team teaser, and I'll take the Broncos. You can't take the Niners. They're 2-10. They've won 1 game since Garoppolo got hurt, and that was against the Raiders on, I think, a Thursday night. So they haven't won a Sunday football game all year without Garoppolo. Denver's hot. I know they're not as good on the road, but they'll have plenty of stuff to beat, the Niners. The defense will be swarming. The Niners won't get much done here. Denver will find a way to win. Denver's pick number 2. Pick number 3. Let's go out to Los Angeles, the StubHub Center, where the LA Chargers are -14 against the Cincinnati Bengals. Chargers up to 9-3, went into Pittsburgh and beat the Steelers without Gordon. Gritty win by the Chargers. The Chargers are legit. They're a different type team this year. They're finding ways to win these type of games. I know they lost that Bronco game. They probably should have won. Other than that, though, they've been taking care of business pretty much week in and week out. This was a nice win. They're down 23-7 on the road to Pittsburgh without Gordon. Pittsburgh coming off a loss. And the Chargers get the job done. Nice win by the Chargers. They are a legit team. There's still a game behind the Chiefs. Got to play the Chiefs one more time. Chargers are legit. They're dangerous. Cincinnati, well, they're the opposite of dangerous. They're completely done. 5-7, lost to Denver. Remember in a galaxy far, far away when the Bengals were 3-0? That seems like, a decade ago. The Bengals are finished. Lewis can go. He can go. I've been saying that for a while. He can take Jackson with him. Jackson, who got fired from the Browns. Lewis hired him. They both can go. You can take Dalton with you as well as you're going out the door. The Bengals should just rebuild this whole thing. No A.J. Green. He's out for the rest of the year with another injury. They lose the tight end. The Bengals should just do what the Raiders are doing and start over. Trade Green for a number 1 pick. Trade the tight end. Lewis has to go. Jackson's got to go. Dalton's got to go. Just unload and start over. What a mess in Cincinnati. Oh, what a mess. The spread is 14. I'm not taking the Bengals under any circumstances because I think they're going to be blown out. This might be a perfect game for you 14 teaser lovers that can get 12 points and move this line down to 2. Whatever way you play it, you got to go Chargers. Whether it's straight up, money line, 2-team, 3-team, 4-team teaser. You got to go Chargers if you pick this game. You can't pick the Bengals. They have the capability of losing this game by 30 points. Chargers, pick number 3. Pick number 4. Let's go out to Oakland. The Black Hole. Chucky. Michael Myers. Freddy Krueger. Jason. My favorite guy in the gorilla costume. Darth Vader. And all those wacky fans out there in the black hole. Where the Pittsburgh Steelers are minus 11.5 against the Oakland Raiders. Oakland down to 2-10, lost. Kansas City did show some fight in the game. They did hang in there. They didn't get blown out. Looked like they were going to get polished off a few times. They did battle, at least in this game. That's more than I can say for the Raiders, in past games where they just checked out. They actually battled and hung in the game. They lose in the end. They're 2-10. You know the deal with the Raiders. Oh, the Pittsburgh Steelers. 7-4-1, lost 2 in a row, lost to the Chargers. Connor's questionable this week with an injury, and that's where the Bell, situation, really, comes to a head. Because now without Bell, and if Connor doesn't play, now you're really thin at running back. You got Bell and you got Connor, then you got some depth. You could still win with Connor, but now when he goes down, now you're talking third stringers playing. That's trouble. Pittsburgh, what are you doing? 23-7 at home in your building, coming off a loss. Chargers didn't even have Gordon, and you lose the game. You're up 23-7. You give up 23 unanswered points, fall behind 30-23. You tie the game with 4 minutes to go, and what do in typical Steeler fashion lately? You let the Chargers manipulate down the field, or as Hank Stram would say, matriculate down the field. First down, first down, first down, until they get in the field goal range. Game-winning field goal. First kick is no good. Steelers offsides. Then they went offsides a million other times. Chargers finally get the kick through. Chargers win a very nice game. Steelers, that was a terrible loss. They've now lost 2 in a row. This is what I've been talking about with Pittsburgh. They lose these type of games, which costs them home field, which will mean everything in the end. The Chiefs, the Patriots, and the Texans are all ahead of them. And this is if the Steelers actually hang on to the division. They've let Baltimore come back into it. Baltimore's a half a game behind them. So if the Steelers even hang on to win the division, they're not going to have a bye. And down the road, they're going to have to probably beat New England and Kansas City on the road. And they never win in New England. New England takes care of business. The Steelers don't. That's why New England always gets home field and the Steelers don't. And the Steelers always go up to Foxborough and lose. It's these type of games. Should have beat the Chargers. You're up 23-7 in your building. Put them away. But the defense was bad. The defense was not good the last 2 weeks. Okay, the Bronco game, they had a million turnovers, but the defense was not good here. This was the defense we saw at the end of last year and the beginning of this year. I thought the Steelers had righted the ship. The defense came back, to rear its ugly head again, and that's what's going to cost them in the end. That was a bad loss by Pittsburgh. Spread's 11.5 here. Listen, I never like taking Pittsburgh on the road giving a lot of points. They just never blow anyone out on the road. They can get sloppy. They just don't blow anyone out on the road. They just don't. I'm going to move the line in a 2-team teaser to 17.5 and take the Raiders. Now, listen, I don't love taking the Raiders all that much, and I know they're awful, but I just don't think the Steelers can bomb anyone on the road. That's my personal feeling. I mean, yeah, sure, the Steelers are probably going to win this game, but do I think they can cover like 17.5? No, I think the Raiders will hang in at home, just kind of like they did last week against the Chiefs. I'll take the Raiders plus 17.5 and a two-team teaser. That's pick number 4. Pick number 5. Let's go up to Buffalo. Whoa, Buffalo. Whoa, Buffalo. Hey. Buffalo at home, -3 against the New York Football Jets. Buffalo down to 4-8, lost a tough game to Miami. Could have easily won, had a guy open in the end zone. Allen missed him. Tough loss for Buffalo there. And the New York Football Jets. Yes, the Jets down to 3-9, lost to Tennessee, blew a huge lead. What else is new with the Jets? Donald looks like he will play this week, but then again, they said that last week. And what's with Todd Bowles on the sidelines? I mean, you know, I liked Bowles when the Jets first hired him. Now I think the Jets need a change too. They should fire Bowles. He just is too stoic on the sidelines. He has no reaction. I mean, he just sits there like this. I mean, basically when the Jets are blowing the lead, you get no reaction from him. You just want the guy to yell at somebody. You just want him to scream at somebody. I know it's not his personality, but the Jets aren't good. They're not. He's not like Tom Landry, where you can just stand there and you have a great Cowboy team and you can win. Todd Bowles, can you get fired up? Show some emotion. We win some games, we lose some games. Win some, lose some, Todd Bowles. You're 3-9 again. You're 3-9 again. I remember back to week 1, the Jets showed so much life. They blew out Detroit. It looked like it was going to be a different Jet team, and here you go again. And there's Todd Bowles. Are you awake, Todd? I mean, my goodness. I'm going to move the line to pick 'em and take Buffalo on the money line. These two teams played a few weeks ago, and Buffalo blew out the Jets like 41-10 in the Meadowlands with Matt Barkley at quarterback. So the Jets got to show me that they can actually get something done. When's the last time the Jets won a game? I mean, when's the last time they won a game? I'll take Buffalo straight up. That's pick number 5. Pick number 6, let's go to Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. Great fans there in Kansas City. Great barbecue. By the way, it feels like the Chiefs have been on the road the whole year. And I think they have. I think three of the last 4 games they'll be at home. They've had a lot of road games, Kansas City. Interesting game here. Kansas City -7 at home against Baltimore. Kansas City up to 10-2, beat Oakland. Of course, the whole Hunt situation, that's like the Ray Rice situation all over again. I mean, Chiefs looked a little distracted last week, but still got the win. Should be better this week at home. Baltimore, give them credit. They're 7-5, beat Atlanta. Jackson's 3-0 as a starter. Baltimore has had 3 different years. They started, 4-1, then couldn't win a game, or 4-5. Now they've won 3 in a row with the backup quarterback. So up and down. Defense usually plays good. I want to see if Jackson can get it done against Kansas City in Kansas City. I really do. I mean, Jackson hasn't been, putting up amazing passing yards. He's getting the job done, doing some things with his legs. Baltimore defense is dominating. Let's see if they can do that on the road in Kansas City. Yeah, they beat Atlanta, but Atlanta stinks. Kansas City is an offensive machine. They're a very good home team. Baltimore on the road, can they match points with Kansas City? Is that defense going to be able to stop the Chiefs? Is Jackson going to be able to put up some numbers? You know the Chiefs are going to get their points one way or the other. I'm going to move the line down to 1 and take Kansas City. It's a tough game, an interesting game. I got to respect the Chiefs, though. I mean, they're 10-2. I mean, they're home. They score at will all the time. I really like the Chiefs here in this game, -1. Interesting game. I got to think the Chiefs are going to get it done, though. That's pick number 6. Pick number 7. Let's go down to Tampa Bay with the New Orleans Saints, a -8.5 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. New Orleans down to 10-2. They lost to Dallas. Couldn't get the offense cooking at all as the Dallas defense shut them down on the Thursday night game. Oh, by the way, I forgot to say with New Orleans, who dat? Tampa Bay, they've won 2 in a row. They're up to 5-7, beat Carolina. Winston played well. The Tampa Bay defense has actually played decent the last 2 weeks. They've been awful most of the year. Remember, Tampa Bay went into New Orleans and beat the Saints in week 1. Spread's 8.5. I'm going to move the line to 14.5 and take Tampa Bay. I get the home field. I get 14.5 points. The game's on grass. Tampa Bay's won 2 in a row. They've beat New Orleans already. I'm not saying they're going to beat them here, but I think they can at least hang in the game and cover 14.5. So I like it that way. I'll take the Bucks plus 14.5 to at least hang around. That's pick number 7. Pick number 8. Let's go with the Big D in Dallas. Jerry's World. With the Dallas Cowboys, a -4 against the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles up to 6-6, beat Washington as Sanchez entered the game last night because McCoy broke his leg. So Philly got the job done last night. They're a game out of first place. This game will be for first place. Dallas up to 7-5, beat New Orleans. Very nice win by Dallas. They're hot. They've won 4 in a row. Hard to believe, just a month ago we were talking about how bad Dallas was when they lost to Tennessee. They haven't lost since. Defense, despite not having Lee playing really well. Usually without Lee they fall apart. Not the last 4 weeks. They've done a great job. They held New Orleans to 10 points. That's not easy to do. Dallas putting it all together. They're one of the hottest teams right now. Like what I see from Dallas. This is what I thought I was going to see from Dallas most of the year. They're putting it together now. This is a first place game here. Listen, I'm going to move the line to pick them. Money line, take Dallas. Dallas to me is too hot right now. They've won 4 in a row. They got the defense clicking. I know Philadelphia won last night, but let's be honest. Washington had their third-string quarterback, and that game was 14-13 at the half, and Washington couldn't do anything with Sanchez in the second half. Philadelphia is going to have to convince me they can win a big game on the road. They've been spotty this year, the Eagles. They've been up and down. I do respect them. I respect what they did last year. I like Wentz. It's a tough division game. You could move it to 10 and take the Eagles, but I just think Dallas is going to win the game. I just can't see the Eagles winning this game. Remember, they played a few weeks ago. Dallas went into Philadelphia and won. I think Dallas is just a little better right now. Philadelphia is going to have to show me they can do it on the road against a good team. If they do, I'll come here next week and I'll be happy to give them credit. They'll have to show me first. Dallas, pick them. That's pick number 8. Pick number 9. Let's go out to the Great Northwest with the Seattle Seahawks, a -3.5 against the Minnesota Vikings in a very important NFC game. Seattle up to 7-5, beat San Francisco. Give Seattle credit. I thought this was going to be a rebuilding year for them. They have really played tough, good football. Give Pete Carroll credit there. Minnesota down to 6-5-1, lost to New England. What is with Minnesota? Listen, it's no disgrace losing to New England. I just feel underwhelmed by Minnesota. I just keep waiting for them to play a monster game. They had the nice win in Philadelphia, but then they sputter in games, and they just look bad in certain games. To me, they should be better than 6-5-1. This is a team that was talking Super Bowl when they got Cousins, and let's be honest, Cousins is not a great quarterback. You want to say he's pretty good? Okay, he's not a great quarterback. Minnesota, though, has to be better than 6-5-1. I mean, they're just not playing crisp football. I keep looking for them to do something, and they just keep, it's like, 2 steps forward, 2 steps back with them all the time. Tough game here. Important game for both teams. This is a monster game for both teams. Being it's a monster game, I'll move it to 9.5 and take the Vikings, thinking this is a close game either way. It's too important of a game for both teams to think it's going to be a blowout one way or the other. It's got to be a good, competitive, close, down-to-the-wire game. I'll take Minnesota plus 9.5. Think the game is close. That's pick number 9. Pick number 10. Do I have to pick this game? The Detroit Lions, -2.5 at Arizona. This is one of those my bags are packed trips. My bags are packed. Let's go see Detroit, Arizona. My bags are packed. Plenty of seats available. Let's go. Detroit, 4-8, lost to the Rams. They did hang in the game. Rams pulled away late. Lions, 4-8. You talk about a disappointing year with the new coach. Oh, just awful. Arizona, listen, I'm picking on them, but they did win last week. They're 3-9, went into Green Bay and beat the Packers. Arizona had only beaten the Niners this year, so that was a good, gutty win by Arizona. I've been picking on them a lot this year, but I have to give them credit for that win. This is an absolute mess. This game is a mess. I mean, I guess if you have to take it, you move the line to 8.5 and take Arizona. I actually would look more under in this game. Whatever the point spread is, I push it up in a teaser and then bet the under. This has like 16-13 written all over it. This has ugly, defensive, sloppy, just not good football written all over it. Should be an ugly mess in the desert. So I would go that way, probably bet the under, push the line up in a teaser and bet it under. If I had to pick the game, I'd push it up to 8.5 and take Arizona. But believe me, it's not a game I'll be plucking my own money down this week. That's pick number 10. Pick number 11. Let's go down to D.C. where Washington is -2 against the New York Football Giants. Giants up to 4-8, beat Chicago. I was really surprised about that. I know Chicago had the backup quarterback, but I wasn't impressed with the Bears at all. But the Giants did a lot of good things, especially on offense. So give the Giants credit. Despite blowing the lead, they found a way to win. Washington down to 6, lost to Philadelphia. I mean, what can you say here? They're down to their third-string quarterback. You lose Alex Smith. You lose McCoy. Now you got Sanchez in there. By the way, I didn't even realize Sanchez was still in the league, but there he was on Monday Night Football last night in the second half, blowing up the game. You can't like Washington. I'm going to move the line to 8 and take the Giants. Now we're down to the third-string quarterback for Washington. Once you get to the third string anything in the NFL, you're in big trouble. Washington's in huge trouble. I know they beat the Giants already in the Meadowlands, but now with Sanchez, ouch. I'll take the Giants +8. It's another messy game. Can't take Washington with Sanchez on general principle. That's pick number 11. Pick number 12. Let's go down to South Florida. South Beach. Sly Stallone hanging out down there with Will Smith and Sharon Stone, whoever else congregates down there in South Florida. With the New England Patriots, a -8.5 against the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins up to 6-6, hung on to beat Buffalo. They hung on, by the way. Buffalo had a chance to win that game. Dolphins hang on. Dolphins still alive for a playoff spot. New England, 9-3, took care of business against Minnesota. New England is the 2 seed right now, hanging on for that 2 seed. Like a half a game up against Houston. I think they have the tiebreaker. Only a game behind Kansas City for the division, for the top record in the AFC. And remember, New England already beat Kansas City, so New England a lot to play for. By the way, New England blew out Miami this year in New England. I think this game is going to be a lot closer down here in South Florida. I'm not saying Miami's going to win. I'm not going to say that. Sometimes these games in South Florida, Miami, New England, are a lot closer than the ones up in Foxborough. I'm going to move the line to 14.5, and I'm going to take a chance with the Dolphins. I'm going to say they hang around in this game. They're going to be all fired up. They got bombed by New England already. They're still alive for the playoff spot. They got Tannehill back. I mean, I think Miami can at least hang around. Not saying they're going to win. I think they can hang around. Under 14.5. Take the Dolphins there. That's pick number 12. Number 13. Good game here. Let's go to Soldier Field in Chicago, one of my favorite stadiums in all of the NFL, one of my favorite cities in all of the NFL. The LA Rams are -3 against the Chicago Bears. Rams 11-1 beat Detroit. The Rams just keep on keeping on. Bears down 8-4. A terrible loss to the Giants. That was a bad loss. I mean, really awful. I know Trubisky was out and they were playing with their backup quarterback and he played awful. I didn't like the way the Bear defense played in this game. Didn't like the Bear body language in this game at all. They come back, they have that frenetic tie game. They tie the game and then they lose the game anyway in overtime. I mean, the Bears, this was a bad loss by Chicago. Now, if Trubisky plays, and we don't know, I'd probably move the line to 9 and take Chicago. Home, I believe this is a night game. Chicago coming off a bad loss. I think the defense is going to be angry. They got a huge test here in the Rams. I would take Chicago to keep it close. Now, if he doesn't play the quarterback and you got the backup and the spread's 3, to me that is a throw out. You got to lean Rams. I mean, I'm actually surprised with Trubisky being questionable. His spread is only 3 the way the Bears played last week. And the Rams have only lost 1 game, by the way. And that was in New Orleans. So if Trubisky plays, +9 Chicago. If he doesn't play, I'd probably throw the game out or I'd look to the Rams. Going to be hard if the Bears starting quarterback doesn't play for the Bears to match firepower with the Rams. And I'll tell you what, the Bear defense better come to play this week. If they play like they did last week against the Giants, the Rams will put up 40 on them. I think the Bears will come to play defensively here. Hopefully Trubisky gets on the field. That'll make the game a lot better. That's pick number 13. Pick number 14, let's go down to Texas, where the Houston Texans are minus 4.5 against the Indianapolis Colts. How about the Texans? 9-3 beat Cleveland. They've won 9 in a row. They look awesome right now. Look like one of the best teams in the AFC, just like I told you at the beginning of the year. I hate to keep saying it. I said they were one of my surprise teams of the year. I said it like 300 to 1 at the beginning of the year. They were a good bet to, pluck down your money to win the Super Bowl. That was a great bet, 300 to 1. Even at 0-3, I was saying it. Texans look like a legit team on both sides of the ball. Indianapolis, they're down to 6-6. Lost to Jacksonville, got shut out 6-0. Ouch. No points in this day in the NFL. And I know Jacksonville. I know they're capable of doing that sometimes, but no points. When I look at this game, two ways of thinking. Who I think is going to win the game? Straight up, I think the Texans are going to find a way to win. They've won 9 in a row. I mean, remember the first time these two played was that wild game that should have ended in a tie, but the Colts went for it on 4th down. The Texans ended up winning the game, and the Texans haven't lost since. The Colts did respond. They have rebounded. If you ask me straight up who's going to win, I would say the Texans find a way to win. But there's that rule of thumb in the NFL. A team that's shut out the next week usually wins and always covers. It's happened twice this year already where a team's been shut out. The next week, I think they won or covered. You know what I'm saying? There's a rule in the NFL. When a team is shut out, you take them the next week. I guess because they're so embarrassed they were shut out that they come to play, with their best game the next week. So maybe move the line to 10.5 and take the Colts there. Game should fall right in between there somewhere. I think the Texans will eke it out, but I can see the Colts covering that 10.5, and that rule I'm talking about, taking a team that's been shut out, 1 week, you take them the next week. That always seems to work. So I'll respect that rule. I think the Texans will eke it out. I can be talked into the Colts 10.5 because of that rule. Can play the game a couple different ways. That's pick number 14. Pick number 15, this is just a garbage game, and who would have thought it at the end of the year, last year. The Green Bay Packers at home, -6 against the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta 4-8 lost to Baltimore. They've been gutless all year, and they've been hit hard by injuries, running back, defense hurt, but they've been pretty much gutless, Atlanta. Let's be honest, 4-8. 4-8. This is a team that should have won the Super Bowl 2 years ago, could have beat Philadelphia last year, who did win the Super Bowl, had high hopes this year in the new stadium, 4-8. 4-8, embarrassing. And just as embarrassing, the Green Bay Packers. 4-7-1, lost to Arizona at home. Lost to Arizona at home in the cold and the snow in Lambeau Field in the frozen tundra. And you let Arizona, who had 2 wins, both against the Niners, walk into your building and win? Gutless by Green Bay. They give up, game 17-17, they give up a 3rd and 23. Arizona converted like a 3rd and 23 at their own 10, to keep the game-winning drive alive. What a terrible performance by Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers, where are you? Where are you? Where's your leadership? McCarthy now fired. And before it happened, I was going to call for McCarthy to be fired after that performance. The Packers didn't waste any time. Time for a change in Green Bay, that's for sure. Well, what kind of performance was that by Green Bay last week? Gutless. Aaron Rodgers, where are you? You're making a ton of money. You couldn't do better than 17 points against Arizona? Are you kidding me? Gutless performance by Green Bay from top to bottom. And still they make Green Bay a 6-point favorite here. I love that. They keep making Green Bay big favorite every week, and they haven't done anything. To me, this is a throw-out game. If I have to pick the game, I'll move the line to 12 on a 2-team teaser and take the Falcons. Both of these teams have shown me nothing. Nothing. So I'll take Atlanta plus 12 if I have to. To me, it's a throw-out game. Wouldn't bet it. That's pick number 15. And pick number 16. This is the Thursday night game. This is a throw-out game to me. I don't like betting Thursday night football because you never know what you're going to get. And with these two teams, you surely don't know what you're going to get. Tennessee at home, -4 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Tennessee up to 6-6. Came back and beat the Jets. That was a gutty win. They looked terrible early, rallied late. They're still alive for a playoff spot, but they have a lot of work to do. Remember, they're a game behind Baltimore, and Baltimore already beat them. So Baltimore has the tiebreaker. So Tennessee really needs to win this game. Have to take care of business. Jacksonville, they showed some life after 2 months of not doing anything. They beat Indianapolis. They're up to 4-8. Defense played great. That was the Jacksonville defense we thought we were going to see all year. Offense is still terrible. Bortles awful. Offensive line not good. The receivers are decimated. They got Fournette back, but they can't move the ball from here to there. But 6 points was enough because the defense played great. By the way, how about Tom Coughlin? Tom Coughlin up in the booth in that game was acting like Jacksonville won the Super Bowl. I mean, he's dancing in there and he's cheering. He's like, yeah, he's going crazy. Tom, calm down. The team hadn't won in 2 months. They're 4-8, and the offense still stinks. And you're not going anywhere this year. I mean, he was celebrating like they won the Super Bowl. He's up on his feet. He's going like this. Settle down, Tom. This game, I think, is a mess. Tennessee, I think, beat Jacksonville this year in Jacksonville 9-6. It'll be that type of game again. It'll be like, a 12-9 type game. If you asked me who I thought was going to win, I'd probably lean Tennessee. It's such a big game for them. They're at home. They already beat Jacksonville. Jacksonville offense stinks. Tennessee's offense is not much better. This has 12-9 written all over it. If I had to pick, I'd say Tennessee. To me, it's a throwout. I mean, I'm not betting this game at all with my own money. If I had to pick, I'd lean Tennessee. So there you go. There are your picks for Week 16 in the NFL. Didn't bet last week. I took the week off from betting. It was a good week to take the week off. A lot of strange things happened last week. I think I finished like 8-7. So that was a good week to take off. This week is also kind of strange. Not as strange as last week. Still a little strange. Not a week I want to bet a lot of money. I'll bet light this week. So the last week, I couldn't get a feel for the games at all. This week, a little better, but not much. So I'll slightly bet this week. But it'll be a light betting week for me this week. It's a lot of strange games. the last couple of weeks. Haven't had a great feel for the games the last 2 weeks. So there you go. You guys are all caught up. We have only a couple weeks left in the regular season. Listen, I know I promised you guys a sports rant. We'll probably save that for Week 17 in the NFL season. Remember, Week 17, I probably won't pick the games because most of the playoff scenarios will be wrapped up. You won't get too many games where both teams need the game. So I probably won't pick the games in Week 17, but maybe I'll do my sports rant there because I just haven't had enough time to put it together the last few weeks. Maybe I'll save the sports rant for Week 17 when I'm not going to be picking any of the games. But we got a couple weeks left in the regular season. Let's finish strong. Let's head to the playoffs on a good note. I've been cruising this year. Had that undefeated week 2 weeks ago. By the way, thanks a lot for all the support during that week. You guys were great. All my new subscribers, all my new listeners. Great to have you on board. And of course, my loyal audience who has always been there for me over the years. Thanks as always for the support. You guys stay happy, healthy, and safe. Pick a lot of winners. Make a lot of money. Enjoy the games. I'll be back with you next Tuesday. Take care.